Today, I'm going to face a first for Fat Guy Productions. Don't go away. Hello friends and welcome to Fat Guy Productions. I am Paul, coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, oddly enough, this restoration is a first for me. It's odd because I'm always trying to find new and fun stuff to do for you, and it just seems weird to me that I have never restored a topper Johnny Lightning before. Well, I'm going to set that to right today as I tackle a viewer's casting of the Double Trouble. This 1970s casting has a major problem, and I have my work cut out for me, so I need to get to work. So this is going to be a little bit different of a diecast restoration. First of all, it's a Johnny Lightning, and second of all, we're starting with the warm liquid goo drop. In she goes. And that, my friends, is an epic warm liquid goo drop. That was sweet. I'm sorry. That's right up in the top 3, man. That was awesome. Okay, but anyhow, let me explain how we got to this point. You see, what happened is Coyote Customs asked if I would consider trying to make a motor for this Johnny Lightning. So he sent me the car and the broken motor he had, and I did some 3D modeling and printed out some pieces, and, well, we'll see how it goes. But I had already taken the car apart, not thinking that this was going to be a video that was just going to be, I was doing him a favor. Well, once I got the car apart and realized how things were going, I realized this has to be a video. So you didn't get to see me take it apart or anything like that. But we're going to pick it right up with the goo drop. We've put it in the goo. We've brought it out of the goo. We've washed it. We're cleaning it up. And we'll go from there. So clearly this is kind of a knockoff of the split image from Hot Wheels, but hey, it's got its own little bit of styling to it, and it's a pretty cool car, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. So we've got all the paint off, we're hitting it with the brass bristle brush, and the body's okay, it's not perfect. A light colored Spectraflame paint might not work unless I did some serious polishing, but we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're just going to put this aside for a second because I don't want to go any further if I can't pull off the motor. So we're going to turn to Tinkercad. Now here at Tinkercad, what I've done is I've taken my calipers and the broken motor, and there were pieces missing, and I had to extrapolate what was gone in my head, and then I had to use the calipers and sketches and figure out how this motor should look. So in Tinkercad, I've started building the engine, and it's a lot of series of different shapes and what have you. And, it really is just a thing of trial and error. I actually ended up printing like 5 different versions of the motor to finally get something that works with the car. So that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing me working on the 3D model that I will print from, and I'm just using the original and what I glean from what is there of what this whole thing should look like, and we'll see how we do. Now, aside from getting a 3D printer, there are lots of ways to get different things made in 3D, but you always need a model. And if you guys would be interested in some additional videos on Tinkercad and how to model things, let me know in the comments below, and if I get enough response to that, maybe I'll do some Tinkercad videos. So anyhow, this is one of the blocks of the engine. It's got like 2 blocks to it, each one with 4 cylinders in it. And so, I'm just trying to make it look as close to what the original looked like as possible, trying to figure out the mechanics. And I'm assuming it had a nice long exhaust pipe that was broken off, and so I'm going to add that back in too. So anyhow, here's the first block, and once I've got it all done, I just copy that off and add the other parts, and we're on a roll here. So here you can see a great look at my finished 3D model of the motor. Okay, and I think it looks fantastic. It's got most of the details of the original that I could tell. It's going to attach back the same way, and now proof is in the pudding. I'll have to go to my 3D printer, and like I said, I'm going to end up printing 5 copies of this, tweaking some dimensions here and there until I get it just right. So let's turn to my Anycubic Photon resin printer, of which I am printing with the door open just so you can see here. So I found in the first 4 printings of the motor that these are really, really fragile, and just even cutting them from the supports, I could break them. So this last one, I changed a lot of stuff. I thickened parts up. I took and put fewer supports on so I could get to them easier. And what I'm doing here is I've got, I think it's 6 of the motors here, and I'm just cutting one free so that I can clean it up and test fit it, and hopefully it will come out okay. So already this is a mega score. I got the motor free of the supports and whatnot, and all I got to do is nip away all the little stubs from the supports, clean it up, and then we can do a test fit and see how this works on the car. So I want this to look as nice as possible, so I'm doing a little bit of filing where the supports were, cleaning up any anomalies, and just making sure that the motor is going to look good. My plan is to eventually finish this with some primer and some Molotow, but all that's got to wait until I get the motor cleaned up and looking right, and do some test fitting on the car body to make sure it's going to work. Okay, so basically this should just snap into place. My concern is that I will break off the pegs that hold it in. So I've done a little tweaking on it to make sure it goes in nicely, and it looks like it's working out. And we've got it on the car, and that's a major score, and it actually looks like it fits. And it's looking pretty good. And I got to tell you, right about now, I am insanely happy at how great this is working out. I don't know if it's exactly like the original, but hey, I think it looks fantastic, and it's on the car, and I couldn't be happier at this point. I'm like a puppy with 2 Peters right now. So I'm basking in the afterglow of the success of the engine. I put that aside for now, and now I know I can push forward with the rest of the car. So I'm going to throw some paint on it. I thought this would be a great time to throw on a little Createx Candy 2.0 burgundy paint here. The body's a little bit sketchy. So, a nice dark color, but still have a little bit of transparency to it. I think that will look really, really nice on this car. So, that's my plan. A little Createx Candy 2.0. I've put in a little balancing clear, and I don't know if you know anything about how much paint you need for one car. But if you look at my cup, I have kind of overdone it. I could paint probably 4 cars with that much paint. But hey, I got to tell you, I was just still so excited about the motor that I think I temporarily went insane or something. I'm really not thinking about what I'm doing. It's just kind of happening, and I'm really happy with things. So hey, you know what? So what? If I wasted a little paint, I don't care at this point. I'm just too happy. Nothing is going to take me down unless, of course, I somehow destroy this car. So, one of the things I really like about the Createx Candy 2.0 paints is their saturation of color. They are very deep colors, and they're so pigmented, and you can get completely different looks based on how much or how little paint you put on the car, and it's stunning. I really love these paints. I don't know why. Well, I do know why I don't use them more. Because most of the time I'm doing Hot Wheels, and more often than not, I'm trying to use original Hot Wheel colors. But short of that, these Createx paints are fantastic. I love them, and this burgundy is just looking super cool. Okay, so I'm loving the paint job on this car. Once I'm done with it, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the heating lamp, make sure it's fully dry, and then I will come up and bury this beautiful color underneath some Brightvision clear coat and let that dry for a day or two before we get the car back together. Okay, so while that is happening, I can now turn my attention to the little tiny windshield. And Coyote Customs sent me that in a separate container, and so I already had that. And we're going to take it for a little dip in the gauzy and let it dry. And we're almost to the point of being able to put this little devil back together. Just a quick observation. I kind of consider this a badge of honor. The gauzy it's quite a bit in this jar, considering all you're doing is dipping a piece of plastic in the liquid and taking most of it back off and then letting it dry. You know, this should last for a long time. Well, I had to order a new jar. Oh yeah, I think that is very cool. It's like I said, it's kind of a little bit of a badge of honor, Yeah, I've been doing this for a while. I'm a salty veteran of diecast restoration. Well, okay, maybe that's carrying it a little bit too far, but hey, still, I had to order a new jar of gauzy. Okay, so we've dipped the windshield, we put it into the onion saver. We're gonna cover this thing up and let it dry. Now, I don't have any Johnny Lightning wheels. I don't know where you can get any, so I'm just going to have to live with the ones that are on the body or the base. And fortunately, they look pretty good. The chrome is mostly there. They're in pretty good shape, so I'm not feeling too bad about that. I'm going to have to dig around and see if I can find some Johnny Lightning wheels somewhere. Maybe somebody's making them. I don't know. Like I said, I think this is really my first Johnny Lightning, if you don't count the Three Blind Mice Volkswagen we did a while back. So yeah, this is my first Johnny Lightning, and a lot of the stuff I'm doing now is stuff I would do normally earlier in the build, but until I knew the engine was going to work, there was no point in it. So now that that's all working out, I can go ahead and polish this base up and make it look pretty. So after I put the flits on, I'll go ahead and take a nice soft cloth and I will remove all the residual and then really buff this out and make it shine. Now, like I said, the the resin parts out of the 3D printer can be a little bit fragile. And so after having already put this on the body, I was as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory when I took this back off the body. But I needed to get it off for the paint job and to be able to put the Molotow on it. So got it off. I'm hitting it up with the Molotow, and then I'll let it dry and put it back on. Now, the trick with the Molotow is you've got to go heavy, okay? Fast and heavy, okay? So that it has a chance to smooth out before it starts to solidify. If you take too long, it can start to gum up, and as you go over it, it'll start to get slimy and gummy, and it will stop looking chrome, and it'll end up looking terrible. So you really got to go fast and heavy, and you've got to keep the pen nice and wet, or just even put some into your airbrush and airbrush it on nice and fast. But really, for Molotow, fast is the key to a nice chrome finish. And that's what I'm trying to do here, try and go as fast as I can and get all the little nooks and crannies. Alright, so the car is dry and the motor is dry. I left a little handle on the exhaust pipe that I can hold it by, and then I'll touch the motor up once I've got it back in. And I learned that it was best to push in both of the clip ends at the same time, so neither one has to move too far. They both move a little so I can get it in. So what I'm doing here is I'm using 2 toothpicks to push in on the little clips. So I'm pushing in and down to try and get the motor to pop back into place. And believe it or not, it's actually going to work. And then I can just push it down with the toothpicks the rest of the way so I don't put some big old ham hand fingerprints all over this thing. And then once I get it into place, I'll just touch it up. You know, every now and then, everybody has one of those moments where you really, well, you hit the winning goal, or you throw the touchdown pass, or whatever it is that you do. You have that moment where you really nail it. And I'm not one to brag on myself, because I have plenty of moments where I screw things up. But I got to tell you, I nailed this. The motor worked out perfect, and in that bright Molotow chrome on the burgundy body, it's looking fantastic. I could not be happier about this. So at this point, all I have to do is drop in the little windshield, put the body back in place, and screw this together, and we are done. And I gotta tell you, I'm really happy about it. And I hope Coyote Customs loves it. I hope you love it. So let's take a look and see what we've done. Well, friends, there it is. And despite the trouble I had making a realistic replacement engine, I think the car came out great, and it was certainly worth the effort. I hope you agree. If you do, please give this video a thumbs up, click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any of my diecast restorations. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Hearing from you makes it all worthwhile. Well, that's more than enough for one day. It's time to leave. You know, sometimes you suddenly just know it's time to start something new and trust in the magic of beginnings. Until next time, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions saying be good.